Lenovo makes some pretty beautiful pieces of technology. For instance, the Moto Z Force is a beautiful piece of engineering, but what makes me say that? This is Andrew with Your Tech Explained with the review of the Moto Z Force. As with any phone, the first thing you'll notice is the body. The framing around the edges is made of metal, giving a quality feel. The front is shatterproof glass that looks super clean with a speaker on top of the screen and a fingerprint sensor at the bottom of the screen. Now, the buttons on the side are a little too high for my liking, but that might be a preference thing. They're firm and responsive though, making the height a little easier to handle. Now the fun part is the back. The back is completely modular, meaning you can take it off and replace it with something that will add functionality to the phone. Modules are pretty impressive already, but how they're implemented on the Moto Z Force is even better. It's held on by a magnet, meaning no buttons or inserting modules needed. Take a module off and stick on another and you're ready to go. It's convenient and almost too easy. Modules available include speakers, battery packs, and even projectors. Lenovo sent us a projector mod and we haven't really put it down since. It's as easy as attaching it and powering it on, just don't look directly into it. It's charged via USB Type-C, just like the phone is, making things even easier. It does take a good while to charge though, and it's also supposed to last a good while. But the first time I tested it, it didn't last too long. But the second time it lasted a bit longer and it kept getting longer and longer after that. For now, it is doing pretty well. Another thing to add to this is that on the back, the camera hump is actually hidden by the fact that you can switch on modules, which is pretty ingenious to me. This way a good camera can be fit into the phone without annoying the user with the ugly bump. A feature on this device that made me happy was the fingerprint sensor. It acts as an on and off button with a quick touch and is pretty useful. That's something that made up for the high placing of the power button and volume rockers. The sensor itself is extremely fast. I'd go so far as to say it's even quicker than the Nexus 6P sensor, which impressed me as well to begin with. You rarely have to put your finger on it before it recognizes you and unlocks the phone. It's pretty reliable as well. I'd say 9 out of 10 times it works almost perfectly. Moving on, the Z Force packs a Snapdragon 820 processor, so it runs super smooth. Never had a hiccup and was thoroughly impressed throughout the whole run. It also has a microSD card slot for adding to the 32 or 64 gig Z Force you do get. The display is gorgeous and doesn't leave me wanting more out of a screen. It's an AMOLED display coming in at 1440 by 2560. It handles color well and makes the phone stand out a little more. It also has the beloved motion sensing that Motorola had packed into their phones previous, where you could wave your hand over the phone to check notification status. They also put in gestures like a hand chop for the flashlight or the hand twist for the camera. Speaking of, the camera is pretty decent, though it could be a little bit better. It's 21 megapixels, which doesn't mean too much, but it gets the job done. It's still a simple camera setup with no really impressive features, but it did do pretty well. Something that a lot of people could get hyped about and or angry about is the lack of 3.5mm jack for headphones. I could care less as long as they include an adapter small enough to fit in my wallet. It did take a few weeks to get used to, but now I don't mind it. I never listen to music when the phone is charging anyway, so it isn't a hindrance either. Now, having USB Type-C audio does improve music quality a slight bit through various different ways. I did notice that music sounded crisper and clearer when I was listening through the adapter. It could be in my head, but it's something that I noticed. Lastly, the battery life on the Moto Z Force is insane. In standby, it'll last days, thanks to Doze, but even when it's in use, it's pretty crazy how much life I could get out of the phone. Watching videos and surfing the internet didn't really faze the Droid one bit. It's a 3500 mAh battery, but it acts like a 5000 mAh battery. All in all, the Moto Z Force is a great phone in my opinion. I had a great time using it to its fullest, and I hope you do too if you pick one up. Links will be in the description for the phone itself, and mods you can get as well too. As always, thanks for watching, and please hit the subscribe button for more content like this weekly.